Our visit with Bob brought to you by A&A Construction. Bob, it is, I think I get to talk to you every year on John Smiley's birthday. Today is John Smiley's 60th birthday. How about that?
It's definitely getting up there. The day he got traded.
Oh, yeah?
I remember being in spring training I got traded on his birthday on St. Patrick's Day to Minnesota, I think.
Wow.
That was a big shock to everybody. We were going into the '92 season, and we'd won two.
We're losing Bob there. Difficult.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There, maybe. You're in and out on me, Bob. You want me to call you back? We're having all kinds of difficulty getting Bob here this morning.
Okay, well, call me back.
Okay,
if you can hear.
We'll do that. We're going to call Bob right back. We'll hit the pause button this morning. Brought to you by A&A Construction. Bob, I hope this works out a little bit better. But we were talking about John Smiley and the trade of him on his birthday. Boy, that's rude, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a messed up day for sure. I mean, like I said, it was a surprise to everybody. He was our 20-game winner. He was one of our. We had two top dog pitchers, he and Draybeck, and they were two of the best in the league. And then, we're looking to win a championship, and they traded Smiley, and that. Talk about a trade that did not go down well with the players. I mean, it was not good, or the fans for that matter.
Yeah.
But we were from the Pirates standpoint, I guess it kind of really rallied the troops together, and we ended up having another good year and coming in first place. But it would have been so much easier if we would have had Smiles with us. And he didn't want to go. I mean, he loved Pittsburgh. He made Pittsburgh his home.
Yeah.
It was a tough day. That was for sure. But that happens a lot in baseball. Guys get traded away, and nothing they can do about it.
Well, a lefty like John Smiley, I always admired the way that he pitched the baseball and the way that he set up hitters. I just thought John Smiley was a really smart pitcher. He had great stuff, obviously. Is there somebody on this Pirates team now or that you've seen in the minors, especially a lefty, who compares favorably with John Smiley?
Well, you see a lot of guys that compare favorably with Smiley, like when he was in the minor leagues. That's kind of like how people are when they're coming through the minor leagues. It's all about how good their stuff is and that sort of thing. And when he first came up, I mean, he got called up from A-ball. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Yeah.
He didn't pitch in Double-A or Triple-A ever. And so he was just this young guy that threw real hard, had a big curveball, and it was kind of like more like a Rod Scurry. You remember Rod Scurry?
Well, it's his birthday today too.
Oh, it is. Wow,
Yes.
How about that?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Amazing you bring him up.
God bless your soul. But he really was just kind of like a stuff guy when he came up.
Yeah.
He was a reliever too, and then they made him a starter, and I was thinking, wow, he's a hard throwing lefty, he's wild, all this. I don't know how is this going to really work out. But I'll tell you what, Ray Miller did a fantastic job with John. Got him to throw that circle changeup, and now that changed everything. And then that was really the thing about him setting up hitters. He had that high fastball that guys had a hard time getting to, and so they were always trying to start the bat a little bit early. And then he had that changeup that Ray Miller taught him. I mean, that turned his world around, and he went from a little bit of a wild young reliever that first year into a very solid, championship type starting pitcher. So
yeah,
sometimes that he's an example of just that one pitch can make a big difference. So you're always being open-minded about learning a new thing.
Yeah, well, people always made a thing about Ray Miller and his work fast. change speeds, and throw strikes. I think those were the three things that Ray Miller always emphasized. And I don't know that is the emphasis with pitchers today. But I know that if you are doing those three things, you're a pretty solid pitcher in the big leagues. And the Pirates have some guys who can do that, and some guys who probably are going to learn to do that. It is a process, isn't it?
Yeah, the things have changed as far as pitching, philosophies and strategies. You only had a 24-man roster back then, and you had a bigger bench. There was no DH, so you had to have extra guys on the bench for pinch hitting and things like that. So you didn't have you had 10, 11 guys a lot of times for your complete pitching staff. So the starters had to pitch maybe an extra inning than they do nowadays because you didn't have so many arms on every team. Mm-hmm. And because of that, there was less importance put on strikeouts and more importance on trying to be efficient and taking the sting out of the ball and using your defense, that sort of thing, keeping the ball out of the air, getting more ground balls, and that really kind of made things different 30 years ago from what it is now. Because now you go out there and go as hard as you can for as long as you can, and we'll see what happens. And if you don't let them hit the ball and put it in play, you strike them out, well, then they're not going to be able to get any hits. So. It has changed in that regard.
Yeah, and they do talk nowadays about not getting that third time through the order. There are very few pitchers who will actually get a shot at a third time through the order against some of these.
Well, they
hitters.
have that luxury because how many guys are in the bullpen nowadays?
Yeah.
When you had 5 guys down there, maybe 6, and you didn't have that luxury, you better learn to go 3 times through that lineup.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, speaking of which, I think the Pirates have some guys that might sort of crack that formula. Paul Skeens, you're going to let him stay out there as long as you possibly can. Mitch Keller is another one that when Mitch gets on a roll, it's pretty amazing to watch.
Those guys, their minimum is a 6-inning outing. That's their minimum. You expect to see 7 out of them, and nowadays complete games, hardly anybody ever does that. But those are the 2 guys on the team that you might get one out of every now and again if the planets align in the correct way. But yeah, every time those 2 guys, they are the consistent guys. They're the ones that are going to protect your bullpen. They're going 6 at a minimum, probably 7 on most nights. So they're a luxury item to have out there now.
Yeah, they really are. I think back to when guys like Gibson were putting up like 20 and 25 complete games in a season. That's never going to happen again. Now, getting a complete game is a real rarity. Although with a guy like Skeens, that can happen every single time out. It's amazing to watch him pitch, and you'll get the chance to do that this afternoon. But the Pirates, they're stocked up on arms all the way through the minors.
Yeah, well, we need to be. I mean, I was feeling really good. About the depth of our starting rotation. I was just like, oh, wow, this is going to be really strong. And then Ortiz got traded, and then Oviedo ended up, somebody that I was excited about coming back because he looked so good 2 years ago when he hurt his arm. I thought, wow, having him back is going to be great. And now I don't know when he's going to be back. He's hurt again. Mm-hmm. And, Falter hasn't pitched a game now since the 3rd, and this is 17th. So there's a question mark right there, and it just shows you that all that depth. You got to have it. You better have some guys in that minor league system that are going to be ready to go because things change so fast. You go from like, oh, we're all right, we got plenty of guys, to where now you're trying to get the Majinski stretched out. So, which is a viable option. I mean, I wouldn't be totally shocked if. They continue to stretch him out and have to have him go back into that rotation. And he was a starter coming through the minor leagues, so who knows? It's kind of like always being able to maybe be open-minded and learn a new pitch. Well, be open-minded that maybe this guy that you didn't think could be a starter in the big leagues is going to prove you wrong. So we'll see.
Yeah, we absolutely were. There's no such thing as a 5-man rotation anymore.
No, not at all.
Not when it comes. And
Heck, you brought Bob Gibson. He was doing that on a 4-man rotation.
yeah, I know. I was just going to say, you came up and it was a 4-man rotation when you first got to the big leagues.
Yeah, we slipped in and out of a 4-man rotation. Even in AAA when I was in Richmond with the Braves, we pitched a lot in a 4-man rotation in the minor leagues. So it can be done. It's just it's all about mindset and what people think is acceptable and what's not. And nowadays, that's not acceptable.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to believe too, Bob, that we're just a week and a couple of days away from the start of the season. It's amazing how quickly the month of March goes, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've been home most of March. I just got down here, so I don't want it to end real quick. This is my first year. I'm just coming down here just as a part timer. It's definitely a little different, but I'm actually really looking forward to this last week. I'm sitting here looking out my window at my first Florida sunrise.
There you go. Oh, wow. How about that? Yeah, we're not exactly looking at a sunrise around these parts. In fact, nobody has power here today after the storms of yesterday. So.
Yeah, that's what made it so tough for me to get to Florida yesterday. I mean, nobody was flying anywhere, all up and down the East Coast.
Yeah, I bet. Are you staying for the first series in Miami?
Yeah. I'm going on to Miami and then on to Tampa, and that's why when I actually asked him, I said, could I just do a week? And my wife's not coming down this year, so I wasn't going to come down here for a month. And there's just so much I could take of this Florida sunrises. But anyway, I came down for the last week, and then I'm going to be on the first road trip, and we should get off to a good start. I think that I'm not that you take anybody for granted, but the Rays and the Marlins are not in the upper echelon as far as the teams you're going to be playing. So we got a couple of good starting pitchers going right out the chute. So maybe we get off to a good start this year and get home with a nice record to face those Yankees.
Yeah, we're hoping for that. Hey, Bob, thanks so much for spending some time with us today. Glad we got that phone thing straightened out, too.
Yeah, well, I think it was key to me moving over to the window here.
Well, that way
it still only shows I have one bar, but it's hanging in there, so we're good.
Yeah, plus you get to see the sunrise. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, okay, maybe I'll get up early Wednesday and go by the pool. We'll see.
Yeah, rub it in. Thanks a lot.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Bob Walk with us here this morning on Indiana in the Morning. Brought to you by A&A Construction, 8:25 in the morning. Boomer Sports next, and then a visit from the newsroom with Jake.